is where I am in this mask making project. And what got me started, got out my box of Christmas card making stuff, and I have a lot of this particular paper pad. This has 15 designs, four of each design. So there's plenty here. I've got two of these, and it really lasts a long time. So I decided that this artist group that I was recently invited to join, these are great people. They're so much fun, and I am learning new things with them that is so cool. I wanted to do something different for instead of just a plain old Christmas card. I thought this would be, they're so generous. What can I say? I want to be generous back. So I'm making 15 journals. And I want to make them kind of more simple for myself so it doesn't take forever, but it's going to take it's already taken a couple of days. What can I say? So I made a prototype. I took two of those sheets of paper and I made a bit of a prototype that is not finished. It is not finished yet because I want to do a mass. I really want to think assembly line. I want to think mass making. So I went ahead and let's go through the papers because these are artists. I've collated, I got out all sorts of papers from my stash and I collated to create as much variety as possible, right? So there's some lined paper and this is just some craft paper. And one of the things that we do in this group is Zentangle. Looks great on brown paper. So hey, got some brown paper. This is some sketch paper from a sketch pad. I have some coffee dyed paper. This is pretty thick stuff more of a, this is a cardstock, coffee dyed with a little watercolor paint sprinkled in. So there's that page. Then there's some graph paper. That's useful. It's got some lines on the back. This is some paper that I've created with horizontal lines so that I could have the whole sheet have the horizontal lines. Paper bag. Why not? I can tuck some things into it, and I opened up the bottom as well. Not too sure what else I'm going to do with that. I'm just starting with this basic inside, some more of my lined paper, and then I have some very lightweight scrapbook paper. So all of them have this pocket in the middle. And I trimmed that down so that it would have less bulk. And this is about the right height. And then this whole thing will get trimmed all at once. So I've got this collated, and I collated all of them. I just need to add one more thing to the outside, and these are ready to go. So so after they're collated, I'm going to make all the covers, and because I want to mass make, I want to do things in batches. So I want to do some sewing. I didn't, I didn't glue this super, super firm, so I noticed there were a couple of gaps on some of the edges, but I don't care because I'm going to stitch all the way around the front and back. And it's the same thing goes with the inside. I want to sew around these edges. I want to add just a little bit of that kind of flair to the inside. So because I'm mass making, I want to do it one stage at a time. I want to get all of these 15 up to this stage. Then I can go and sew where I want to sew. And probably at that point, I can go ahead and sew it in, right? So I have those all ready to go for finish assembling all of that part. And I'm going to do the stitching. And then we'll get into embellishment. That's where I am now. Oh, and by the way, I decided to make a bunch of these. I have a whole lot of 6x6 plaid paper uh, pads. So why not? Let's get those out. And this little pen holder is something, and it's also got a paper clip. So I can just clip that on, which is so cool. And just have a little pen tucked in there. And this will be really nice. Natasha Treasure Books has a demo on this. So I will put that link down below. So if you want to make any of these little pen holder paper clips, there we go. So that's extra little thing that I thought would be very nice with this little journal. All right, so I'm going to go take everything up to this stage and I'll be back. I just realized that I want to share with you how I make the cover. It's very simple, but it's very important. Right? So anyway, I have two sheets that are the same. Obviously, you could have two different ones. The inside could be different from the outside. In this case, this is 8.5 by 11, standard American A2 letter size. And what I want to do is create a little bitty spine. It just fits better having a very small spine. So because this is 11 inches, half of that is 5.5, right? So I want to go 1/8 of an inch each side of 5.5 so that I have a 1/4 inch spine. And I only have this small uh, scoring board, but it works just fine. You have to just stop short. And then I just need to move it up a little bit. And of course, if you don't have a scoring board, this can be folded just the same. There we go. The second one is, second half is always a little bit. There we go. Oh, very good, very good. And it's lining up nicely. So what I realized is that for the inside one, I've tried this before, and to score this one to go this way, it it will create it will bind up in the middle. So I don't want to just score this and glue the two sheets together. I could, but I have found that it doesn't work very well. So what I decided to do was washi tape kind of treatment. Now, I don't have any washi tape that would look nice with this particular one, I didn't think. So what I decided to do was make my own. So all I do is use artist tape. This is just a kind of a masking tape. And this is a slick paper that I get on the back of mailing labels. But if you don't have that, you can use wax paper. You could use some heavy plastic, anything that will you can apply the masking tape to, and it's a release paper. That's what it's called, release paper. So I just went ahead and made my own. I used ink with a dauber and just changed it from this to this. So it's really cool because you can make any color you want. And I used the edge of an old plastic card to create a little bit of pattern on a couple of these. I'm going to use these two. So the first thing I want to do is the inside. So I'm going to do that. And what I found on the prototype was that if I line up, which is a little hard to see in the camera, but if I line up the center of that fold, that little bitty spine, on one of these lines, top and bottom, then I have the center of my masking tape that I can line up with that line. And I'm actually taping it to my surface because then I can stretch it across and line up the center of the tape down here. There. So that works very well. All right. So, and I could have done the outside first and done this one second. It doesn't, either would have worked. Okay, so now I'm going to put the second one on, and it's really hard to see in the camera. It's even hard to see for me sitting right here. Okay, but I can see it well enough. All right, hold that down. Use that one. Same, same. Line that up. And stretch it across. I also have this plaid design to line it up with as well. So if you have a paper with that kind of design on it, with some nice lines, there we go. Yeah, if I'd done it a little bit differently, I could just wrap that around. So I still could. And this masking tape, artist tape, is stickier than washi tape, so I did not have to add glue. I am going to add a little dab of green down here, so that's not, there we go. And this is all going to get covered up. So let me just add a little bit of green. There. That's all there is to that. Okay, so now I want to reestablish the fold with the masking tape. And that makes the spine a lot more sturdy. Makes the spine a lot sturdier for sewing. But this is more flexible than having a second layer of this. It won't bind up as much. At least that's in theory, but that's how it's worked for me before. But since it's such a small journal, I do want it to lay flat. Very good. So I want two pieces that are an eighth, well, I'm going to go a 1/4 inch smaller than just cutting it in half, right? So it's going to be easier to mark that. And then I will know exactly where to go. So instead of 5.5, I go to 5 1/4. I'm double checking. If I go to 5 1/4, that'll be fine. That'll be good. It could be a skosh wider, but I'm going to go 5 1/4, and then that would be 10.5 will be the next cut. All right, so that's all there is to that. I'm just going to glue these in, and then I'm going to proceed to do that with all the covers. And then I'm going to take these and I'm going to cut them to size. And then I'll go to the sewing machine and do all of them. So that's how I'm doing the covers. And I hope that was useful for you. All right. So now that I'm going to start doing this, I'm going to go ahead and finish gluing that in and cut these to size. And then this one will be ready for the next stage, which is the sewing. All right. What you saw 2 seconds ago happened about 3 weeks ago. I got called away to help a family member. Nothing terrible, just needed help. So I was gone for a couple weeks and then lots of other things. Anyway, let's move on. I did sew on the edges of these. And so I was able to get the batch finished. I was almost done and almost ready for sewing. So I got to that point, and then I realized that I could only do the long edges because I don't have like a quilting machine or anything like that. So I just sewed down these two edges and turned it around and sewed down these two edges because for me to have like tried to curve this around so that it would fit in the throat of my sewing machine would have yeah, it wouldn't work. So anyway, I sewed all of them and I used, you'll see in the flip throughs, I'll just do some real quick flip throughs. This is ready for sewing. I have my signature all ready. I've trimmed the edges, and let's see, I've got my interiors ready to go. And this was taking a lot of time with the sewing and all of the things that I was doing. So I decided to just glue these. And also, I am giving these to artists. I'm going to give them some extra little goodies that they can play with, but they know how to embellish. So if you're doing a gift for somebody who just wants to write and they don't have goodies and they don't draw or they don't do embellishment kinds of stuff, then you want to go ahead and finish something off. But these are artists. I don't need to do everything for them, right? So I'm not going to. I am going to give them a simple journal, and I'm going to make a few little extras. I've already been working on this, so I'll be able to share that with you. So, but I'm not going to do a full embellishment job. That takes the fun away for them to do the work. Now, because this spine is so small, moving on now, I can see it really well. You might not be able to see it. This is an old mouse pad that I use for poking. But there, I can see the lines really well, and I have my little template for poking my holes. And because I can see the two lines of the spine, I can just kind of eyeball between those two holes. And that is the main thing we want to do, is get those centered. And then make those holes a little bigger. Don't need that now. And because I've sized this for the cover instead of the interior, I'm just centering it a little bit on the top, a little bit on the bottom. Oh, I need to get my thread ready. Okay. I've been tying bows in the middle, so I am using a three lengths. It's hard to do the spine and the signature at the same time. Fortunately, on these, it's no big deal. All right, the signature is in. And another good thing is to just kind of crease the papers a little extra so they fold flat. All right, so now I do want to add some things. Now, one of the things I decided to add was these library card and holder thingies that I designed. And the link for that, you can go get that for free on my Buy Me a Coffee. So these are just, you print them, cut them out, fold, and in they go. So I'm going to install that now. And I did ink the edges. I like I like inking the edges, and I've got the ink already all the way around these edges, and I know that whoever receives this will not have the same ink, so at least I'll have the foundation there for them. So I'm going to set that aside for a minute. Here's another piece of the same paper, and what I have been doing is I created a group of embellishment pieces to include, and I'm just duplicating those for each of these journals. So I'm not trying to do something different all the time, and I'm using the ones that I created as templates for all of the others. So this is very, very simple additions, but they are something that the recipient can have fun with. but it just gives those little extra goodies that can go in the pockets. And then this one is a little gatefold. I don't do any measuring. I did the measuring on the first one just to make sure it was centered. But all I'm doing now is using that as a template and then just lining it up. That's one thing kind of neat about the plaid paper is you can line things up very nicely. They have all these nice lines. So I'm done with that. So I've got this piece and I'm not going to do anything else with it because, I mean, it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun to see what these other artists do with these different pieces. So now I've got some little bits and pieces here. Oh, this is the pen holder. So I put the bone folder in and I kind of open it up a little bit because it's very stiff initially. Get the pen in there. It's got the paper clip. So that little piece is done. So now I want to do some other little fun things. So this one, I've been doing something like this. And I think, there we go. That's the correct direction. I think with this one, I will just do another simple little folder. But we have some bits and pieces. Do I want to use these? No, I don't think so. I think I'm just going to leave that one simple. But I am going to make a couple of tags because that would be a fun addition. So I'm just cutting this at 2.5 inches, and then I'm cutting this one in half. So it'll be 3 inches because it was from a 6x6 paper pad. I've been doing a variety of different things with these dark colors. So I'm going to do, yeah, that one I want to do. Let me find a piece of it here. There we go. So on this one, yeah, I'm going to do that. I'm going to cut a piece of cardstock. So that is 2.5. So I'll cut this one to 2.25. And then we have these little guys and they're dark on both sides also. So I'm going to cut a piece. These were 3 inches wide, so I'm going to go with, I'll go with 2.5. I'll have bigger margins on those. And they are 3.5 tall. So I'll go with 3 inches. Did we make it? Yes. Okay. So there's our pieces. I get very messy on my my work table. I do indeed. Let's see. Oh, I have some advertising here that is expired. So what I want to do is I'm going to make this into a tag shape. Come back to that. Isn't it too long? I forgot to I forgot to trim that down. I made it a little too long. Oh, how funny. Well, that's easy enough. We'll just uh we'll just make it match at the top. That's okay. We'll fix we'll fix it another way. Well, at least I've got these correct. All right. So we can have a little bit of fun with these. Yeah, I think so. I think so. We don't have to leave them plain. We've got all these scraps. It'd be good to use up these scraps. It's lightweight paper. I don't have any problem with using glue stick. I do get Craft Bond extra strength, though. I do not use school glue. School glue breaks down much too quickly and things fall apart. So that's no good at all. But the Craft Bond is intended to be permanent, and that's what we want. And let's see, shall I do this one as well? Might as well, yes. Or, oh, I could do this one a little differently. That'd be fun. Something a little different. I was left with all these bits and pieces, and I was like, well, you got to hang on to all those bits and pieces. You just don't know how you might use them. And what I'm going to do with these little bits and pieces is I'm going to put them, we have the place for those, which is in the paper bag. Good place for it. All right. And I find a crochet hook very handy to pull the ribbon through. A little less fiddly. Okay. There we go. So here are our pieces. Anything else? I think that's everything. Okay, so we have the cover. We have our library card. We have a pocket here. We'll come back to that. So in the middle, what I've been doing is I've been adding these two big pieces and tag and that little guy. And then we have these little tags. So those work very well inside this pocket, right? And I put a few things, just a couple of little things in that one of the paper bags. So then we just put this on. And this one is ready. This one's ready to gift. Because as I said, that's enough embellishment. I'm going to take a little bag of goodies with me to our Christmas party. And if people want to grab a few things from there, we can do that. So I have a few more of these to do. So we'll come back and we'll do a flip through. So here we are with our stack of journals. And I don't think I'll flip through all of them, but I'll certainly give you a little bit of a sense of what was happening here. So let's see. They all have a pen, and I like these G2 gel pens, and they're a nice pen for artists. So they all have the library card and pocket. They all have this little tuck spot, and I'm going to go through these again and make sure I've got everything I want to get. They have the papers that I showed you with the signatures. They all have different kinds of folders, and they all have their paper bag, and they're all hand sewn. some extra goodies in here. I might use a couple of them. I did this one different, so I did want you to see this one. I used the inside of a security envelope on this one to create this see-through. I thought, well, this was later in the game, and I went, oh, that would be fun. And then I used a little piece of that same envelope to create this. This also patterning is from a different security envelope. So that makes a fun tag. But other than that, this is the same as the others, but this was a really neat, different sort of pocket to give it. So this is the only one that has these elements in it. But it's something for me to remember in the future. And then I wrapped the envelope around. So there's the black and white one. That's got a couple of little tags. And the same elements there. This one's got a few different things. There's a little tag hidden in there. So I'm hoping that this is fun for the artists. Little drawing paper, some tags. I'll put a few things in the paper bags. I used baker's twine on this one. This was one of the earlier ones, and baker's twine is thicker than the cord that I used for the rest of them. So I found it a little rough to get. I had to make the holes bigger. So I decided I didn't want to use that. But it is pretty. So that's an option. You should just know that you're going to have to poke some bigger holes. And I didn't have any paper similar to this, so I just used some other papers that I found. A little hidden tag there. This one also, for some reason, I didn't have a smaller version, but that's all right. I just incorporated that in and created a little folder with the same material. This one was a little different experiment. So I've got an extra long ribbon on this because I wanted to open it up into thirds. I'd never done that before. I was just kind of fooling around and went, huh, I wonder if we can do something with that. Of course, there we go. So that was a little different. Can't help but experiment, you know? And then this one was a little more on the pink side, so I used some pink stitching. This is the only one that has the pink in it. Oh, this one, I did this one a little different too. I took a long strip of paper, folded it in half, and just wrapped it around. That kind of looked cool, a little different. And one of the offcuts, I'd have a couple of them that I used it this way instead of on a tag. So there they are. And you know what's really funny is that I'm counting all of these and I'm going, wait a minute, there's only 14. The the paper pack had 15 different designs. I don't know what happened to number 15, but it isn't here. And if I don't have the right count for the people I want to provide for, I've got a couple extra of these pen pockets. So I think I've got everything that I need for our little Christmas party that we're going to have. And I think they came out really fun. To be honest, even doing mass making, I think they each took about 2 hours each. So that gives you kind of a benchmark in case you want to mass make something like this. If I'd made each one individually and then gone on to the next one, I know that it would have taken more time because I've done enough of that kind of assembly line projects in the past. But I like them. I hope they are well received and I like them. And I hope this gave you some ideas and inspiration, of course. And so if you want to mass make, yep, just keep that in mind. This is a very simple journal and I don't have any extra embellishments in it. Did a few little extra playful things. I kept the signatures exactly the same, saved me some time. So I hope that helped you. And I thank you so much for watching. And all right, please join me in my next video. All right. And as I am making this, we are thinking about the Christmas season. So I do wish you a very Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, Happy Holidays, however you celebrate the season. I wish you many blessings and I appreciate you being here. All right. Bye for now.